Speaker Nancy Pelosi issued a statement yesterday saying, quote, President Trump undermined America's preeminent leadership role in the world by threatening an ally with tariffs. She added threats and temper tantrums are no way to negotiate foreign policy.
The new PPIC poll shows that 66% of California Democrats say it's time to reach for the impeach. Mayor Brown, where does that put our Nancy Pelosi?
She's still the leader, Phil. The 66% will have no effect on how Nancy conducts herself. Nancy is talking about trying to win everything. And believe me, impeachment is not part of a winning strategy.
But isn't she having problems with her own leadership in the Congress now who are saying we should be going for this more?
Right. I mean, like, there are a number of people who are now, the numbers are growing. It's still not a majority of Democrats in Congress, but it's the numbers, it seems like every day somebody else is declaring and declaring. But at the same time, after Mueller spoke, it seemed like that would have been the real time for the tide to shift. And if you can ride out that sort of post-Mueller speech enthusiasm for impeachment, she's probably going to be okay between now and, you know, when she thinks it's appropriate.
But she's protecting herself by having a flip line. And the flip line is, don't impeach him, imprison him.
Okay, and a flip line will get you a long way, as you well know.
I will pass on that one.
But at the same time, if you're looking at what are the enthusiastic folks doing inside the party, she's letting folks say what they want impeachment. But by walking the line, she's making sure that she's keeping those people in swing districts in a strong position too.
But isn't she also giving them cover? Because as long as she says no, everybody else can run around saying yes, knowing it's not going to happen.
And one of the most interesting things about that convention is that the impeachment process didn't reflect itself like the 66 you were talking about. Believe me, the father and mother and everything else of impeachment got drummed off the stage because he ran out of time. Tom Steyer, he's still speaking and nobody's listening.
Point out that that poll also reflected that 49% of Californians overall want to start impeachment proceedings. Now that the state Democratic convention is over, candidates are continuing to campaign. KPIX5's Phil Matier and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown who was the biggest hit and who was the biggest miss of that convention.
The biggest hit had to be Elizabeth Warren. Believe me, when she stepped out there and she said, before Elizabeth Warren, she says, I have a plan. Everybody knew exactly who it was. They knew it was Elizabeth. And who failed? Oh, you'd have to say the guy from Texas.
Beto O'Rourke?
Yes, yes. He thought he was at the Irish Cultural Center.
He just did not come on. How hard is it to connect with this crowd of Democrats? I mean, you are talking to the left of left, usually.
You are talking to the left of left. And remember, these are thousands of people who are involved in party politics. To some degree, these conventions are a reunion, right? Everyone's walking around. They want to talk to each other.
But
There's
going forward,
it's
also how you kind of get the momentum going. And you said Warren. Who else? What made Warren so appealing?
Well, it was the way she delivered it, the style, and her clear movement on the stage. She had it all down. It's kind of like what Trump does, really, in terms of being able to engage the people. They loved it. There was one other guy that came out there hip-hopping, and that was a guy who was a consumer guy for the state of California. The Secretary of Consumer, or whatever they call that outfit, insurance. He stepped out there. Yeah, he was
not
good.
Running for
he went
president.
back and forth. And then let me tell you who really captured the flavor, though, was Cory Booker.
True.
When he was smart enough, the minute that they said a moment of silence
for the shooting victims in Virginia.
That is correct, from Virginia Beach, he was next. He tossed his speech and proceeded to walk us back from that shooting all the way to King and I think maybe Kennedy. It was a dramatic walkthrough. Sandy Hooks. It was a dramatic walkthrough, one after another, and everybody focused and listened to him. The trouble was the attention span of the audience was so short, you almost had to tap dance and get off the stage.
Well, Elizabeth Warren, too, had, just applause line after applause line. Her speech was
Well,
so
didn't she just
tight.
basically lift all of Bernie Sanders' agenda?
No, not at all. She has her own plan with regard to how to tax certain folks and what program she wants it to go to. And in fact, it seems to be taking some of the momentum away from him. And
Yep, taken away from him. Speaking of momentum, you guys, really quickly,
Okay.
Joe Biden,
He's in a little bit of trouble.
okay, with the Hyde Amendment, abortion funding.
That
What do you
is
say?
correct. I don't understand how somebody didn't grab him the day he announced to say, first thing you do is say, these are the things I've done incorrectly over the years. I have changed.
Melissa,
There
what
never
do you
would have
think?
been a reference to the Hyde Amendment.
Does he have a tough time?
yes, I mean, people are now starting to uncover all of the things that prevented him from running for president successfully before. They're going to drag it all right back out. And, it may have an impact. It might not. So for some voters, beating Trump is worth putting up with any number of issues.
But in the business of doing what Democrats do, he will be held accountable. Therefore, there may be a problem. All of a sudden, some of the also-rans among the other 19 may look better.
And Mayor Brown may be onto something. In at least one poll by The Economist and YouGov that came out after the convention, Elizabeth Warren actually went up, and so did Cory Booker, and Beto O'Rourke, his poll numbers actually declined.